retained some of its original grandeur, but the modern additions look like a baseball cap on a statue of a medieval saint. There was no sign of the crew of the ambulance. I felt a little guilty as I tried the door, like I was about to rob a grave. I gripped the handle with an involuntary tremble in my hand and pulled. The door was locked. Excuse me.
Yes, sir?
Is this the Hagenmeyer Clinic?
That's correct.
I thought I was in a garden center.
Oh, the plans. They were my idea. A little greenery to evoke the spirit of nature. How may I help you?
Has Marquet been visited by a man in a clown costume?
Oh, no.
You haven't seen a man in disguise?
Well, there's Theodore the Bear. He comes every Thursday to entertain the children. Personally, I think he scares them half to death in that crummy old bear suit. If I was stuck on my back with tubes in every orifice, he's the last person I'd want to see.
Has Marquet had a visit from a pair of gangsters?
I should hope not. Can you describe them?
A thin guy who looks like a weasel and his friend, the gorilla.
Sounds as if they escaped from the zoo.
I'm here to see Jacques Marquet.
Oh, yes. Are you related to our client, sir?
No, I'm conducting a private investigation.
Then I can't help you.
So, do I get to see Marquet before the funeral?
That attitude will get you nowhere. My instructions were quite clear. No one gets to see Marquet. So unless you can prove you're a relative or a close acquaintance, you're wasting your time here.
What does this false nose remind you of?
Oh, it's a clown's nose.
That's right.
Why don't you give me a break and go and play with someone else?
Have you seen this man here at the clinic?
No, sir. And I never forget a face.
Look at this ID pass.
So you're Merlin. Marquet's been asking for you.
For me?
Yes. He was shouting your name when they brought him in here. Now, let me see. He was on ward B12, as I recall. Oh, he's being transferred to... Oh, dear. He's on ward J2. That's... Nurse Grendel's ward.
What does this tool suggest to you?
Is it a crack detector?
Huh?
Polar explorers use them to poke about in the snow.
No. Have you heard of the Club Alamet?
No. It sounds romantic, doesn't it? The kind of place where you get little umbrellas and whelks.
Huh? That's romantic? Is this plaster any use to you?
I'm allergic to plaster.
I'd like to shake you by the hand.
Don't be fresh, young man.
Can you think of any use for this greasy tissue?
I guess you could use it to baste a roast turkey.
What's so bad about Nurse Grendel?
She runs that ward like a South American prison.
Keeping a well-disciplined ward isn't a crime, is it?
Well-disciplined. In the discipline and punishment stakes, she'd whip the butt off the Marquis de Sade. Everything, I mean everything, is done to a strict routine. 6 o'clock alarm call, 6:10 bowel movements, and woe betide anyone who doesn't have a result. Those patients of hers are like Pavlova's dogs.
She sounds like a real nightmare.
And then some.
If Nurse Grendel is that bad, how come the authorities tolerate her?
She's like part of the furniture.
Oh, you mean she's been here a long time?
No, I mean there's not a man in this clinic who hasn't sprawled out on her.
I was beginning to get the picture. This woman was jealous, with a big green capital J. How do I find Nurse Grendel's ward?
Down the corridor on the left, turn right at the senior consultant's washroom. Right again at the executive coffee lounge. Bear left past the administrator's sauna. And turn left at the end. That's J2. And good luck.
Thanks for your help, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Hi, my name's George Stobart.
Pleased to meet you, sir.
Call me George if you like.
Are you sure?
Yeah, that's my name.
My name's Benoit, but everyone calls me Bunny.
Bunny?
That's right. I used to have this cute habit when I was a kid.
Keep it to yourself, Benoit. Do you know anything about a patient named Marquet?
No, sir, I don't know much about any of the patients.
I've never met a doctor who admits that he's only human.
I'm only a trainee, sir. I'm sure I'll get the hang of things.
Do you know the nurse on Ward J2?
No, monsieur. This is my first day here. I can't wait to get my hands dirty. I was talking about treating my first patient, of course. I didn't mean I'd get my hands dirty with a nurse.
Does this false nose mean anything to you?
No, it doesn't.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, monsieur. I've never seen him before.
Have you ever heard of a guy named Merlin?
No, sir.
What does this tool suggest to you?
Isn't that used to snap the patient's ribs when exploring the abdomen?
I hope not. Have you ever heard of the Club Alamet?
No, sir.
Do you know what this white powder is?
No, sir.
Shake my hand, Benoit.
I don't think that's a good idea, sir.
How come?
Dermatitis.
I don't have dermatitis.
I do.
What does this tissue mean to you?
Is that a nasal discharge, sir?
No, it's grease paint. See you later.
Right.
As I turned the corner, I saw the source of the hellish noise which echoed through the corridors. It was an industrial polishing machine with an odd-looking guy in tow. It was a classic example of functionalism, like an early Soviet spacecraft. I almost expected to see a dog or a monkey leap out. I wasn't in the mood for shining floors. The door didn't have a sign or label or any kind of identification.
Hey now, you can't go in there.
How come?
I'm responsible for the contents of that cupboard.
Hello.
What's that?
I said hello.
Oh, hiya.
I'd like to talk to you for a minute.
That's what I thought you said. Don't look so down in the mouth. No matter how bad things seem, I never let life get on top of me.
Oh, yeah? What's your secret?
Why, it's easy. All you have to do is smile and whistle this little tune.
You know what? If you start whistling, I'll bust you in the teeth.
It's a deal.
Do you know a nurse called Grendel?
Sure I do.
Is she on duty today?
Yeah, end of the corridor, Ward J2.
Have you seen any unsavory characters lurking about in the quarters?
No, sir, I haven't. But I've got nothing to worry about. What's that, Mr. Shiny? You'd take good care of the rascals, I'll bet you would. With a friend like him, I've no fear of oppressors.
It must be a great comfort.
He is.
Would Mr. Shiny be your polishing machine by any chance?
Please, don't call him that. He's more of a friend than a machine. I've had Mr. Shiny for 3 years, and he's never let me down once.
How come you got so attached to a polishing machine?
I asked you not to call him that. He's got a name, you know.
Yeah, Mr. Shiny. It's just that...
You think it's odd, don't you?
No,
I don't mind. The rest of the staff think I'm twisted. I heard them snorking behind my back when I gave Mr. Shiny his weekly pull through.
Whatever you've got with this metal mop foot is probably a fine and noble thing.
It is? Say, it's not every day I meet someone as crazy as me.
Do you know where I'd find a patient called Marquet?
No, I'm not allowed on the wards with Mr. Shiny.
Take a look at this red nose.
Are you a policeman?
No, this is a clown's nose, not a policeman's. Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Who is it?
That's what I'm asking you. Have you seen him before?
How should I know? You haven't told me who he is.
Take a look at the photo.
Yeah, okay.
Now, have you seen him before?
No.
Do you recognize this pass?
No, I don't. Should I?
No, but I wondered if you'd seen a stranger flashing it about.
No, sir. But if I had, Mr. Shiny would take care of him.
Would this tool be any use to you?
No, sir. Mr. Shiny has no user-serviceable parts. Whatever that means.
Do you recognize this matchbook?
You should never ever play with matches.
I know that, but...
People get hurt when they do.
Sure.
They end up in hospital, like the burger lady. She was so burned up, they didn't know whether to use bandages or onions.
Do you recognize this powder?
Is that dandruff?
No way.
It sure looks like dandruff.
It's plaster.
Ugh!
Would you like to shake my hand?
Not until I'm washed, if you don't mind, sir. You can pick up all kinds of things in a hospital.
Like nurses, right?
No, sir. Bugs and germs. And fungal infections.
What does this tissue suggest to you?
You have a cold. What you need is vitamin C. And a side order of machine oil.
See you later.
Yeah, take care now.
It was a life-sized marble figure of a guy in robes. The sculptor had tried to give him a look of paternal authority and concern. To my mind, he looked just plain constipated. There was no way I could improve on the sculpture with the janitor watching me. I guess the water cooler was for the use of people lost in the corridors. Maybe the face of the unaccountably happy domestic had made me unduly suspicious. I mean, I knew it was only my imagination, but the water tasted, well, peculiar.
Oui, monsieur.
Is this ward J2?
It is, but you're not supposed to be here. We have strict rules about visiting hours.
Can't you make an exception? I've come all the way from California.
You must speak to the doctor.
I can't wait that long. What if he snuffs it?
You can't talk like that here. This is a hospital. You will have to leave.
Do you have any clowns on the ward?
Why, yes, we do. A professional clown.
I'll bet he lightens the place up.
Hardly. Monsieur Boissy has been in a coma for the last 3 months.
What's wrong with Boissy?
He was involved in a very nasty accident. A silly stunt involving a unicycle. His current condition is due to post-traumatic shock. It's unlikely he'll ever perform as a clown again.
It's an ill wind that blows nobody any good. Do you have a patient named Marquet on this ward?
Oui, monsieur. He is in the private room at the end of the ward. He has been placed in strict isolation.
You can tell me how my brother is, can't you?
Of course, monsieur. What is his name?
Jacques Marquet.
Let me see. He's satisfactory.
I was told he was dying.
Well, he is, but the doctor described his condition as satisfactory. That's quite an improvement on yesterday.
Do you know who paid for Marquet's room?
No, of course I don't.
Preferential treatment like that must cost an arm and a leg.
That's not my concern, monsieur.
Do you recognize this red nose?
Oh dear, I don't think he'll be needing that again.
Who?
Monsieur Boissy, the comatose clown.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, I don't.
Do you know Merlin of Gruber Electronics?
No, I don't.
Does this tool mean anything to you?
I don't recognize it.
Does this mean anything to you?
The Club Alamut? I've never heard of it.
Is this plaster any use to you?
No, it isn't.
Would you like to shake hands with me?
Well...
No, it's okay. Forget it. I didn't really want to use it on her anyway. Do you recognize this tissue?
No, I don't. It looks like a chronic health risk to me.
Well, I've been carrying it around for days and I'm okay. My pocket's getting a little soggy. Thank you, nurse.
You may come back at visiting time, monsieur.
Thanks. When is that?
The second Tuesday of each month.